You're watching Better Business Bureau's Business at its Best, brought to you by Ataraxis. You've got employees, we've got solutions. Human resources, insurance, benefits, and payroll. Our business is your business. BBB's Business at its Best.
Ask a business owner about what keeps them up at night, and you are sure to hear something about sales and marketing. Welcome to Business at its Best. I'm Dale Dixon. Each week, we take a look at one specific area where companies in Idaho are building trust, attracting customers, and finding success. This week, it is all about marketing. On today's show, we go to school for some new ideas on spreading the word about your company, product, and service. Is Pinterest right for your company? We go A-list for a look at marketing top brands to an exclusive clientele. Author and speaker Dave Lakhani wrote How to Sell When Nobody's Buying and Persuasion, the Art of Getting What You Want. He joins us for a frank conversation about getting your marketing tuned up and performing like it should. And we go inside a well-known store with locations in Idaho Falls and Twin Falls for a look at marketing do's and don'ts. In fact, we are talking about telling your story, marketing, right now on Twitter. Ask your question, hashtag BBBTrust. Business at its Best airs across Idaho each weekend throughout Idaho, Pocatello, Idaho Falls, Driggs to Burley, Rupert, and Twin Falls in the south, and Nampa, Caldwell, and Boise to the west, thanks to our media partners. KTVB, Idaho's very own channel 24/7 in Boise, and Local News 8's Now channel in Idaho Falls. Well, as many small companies are trying to find more cost-effective ways to market themselves, Pinterest is one of the fast-growing social networking sites, and many small businesses are attempting to capitalize on its success to promote their products. First on deck in the marketing conversation, Dr. Konya Weber. She teaches marketing at the School of Business at Northwest Nazarene University. Dr. Weber, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And I have to admit, I am unschooled in Pinterest. So tell us about what it is.
Well, actually, Pinterest is a very simple concept. It's a virtual pin board. So, for instance, you can collect things from online sources such as pictures or videos, and then you can pin them on boards, and you have boards of interest. So you might have a board for recipes, quotes, different things like that. I like to give the example, it's like if you've ever been the person that you saw something in a magazine, you ripped it out to share with your friends. That's kind of what it is, but on the virtual world. And so as you can kind of see, is businesses are very interested in you as a person promoting their product by pinning it, which puts the URL on it, and you can put some comments in there. So it's attractive to new small businesses especially.
And from a demographic standpoint, we were talking just before the show, it's biggest with the female demographic.
Right now, absolutely about 80% of their population is females, but again, it's becoming more diverse, and it's also one of the top and fastest growing. It's right behind Facebook and Twitter. And I think it's interesting because they allow you not only to pin, and then of course they will encourage people to repin what they have pinned, but you're allowed to email it, tweet it, like it on Facebook, so it kind of allows people to use all the media.
Moves across the platforms.
Absolutely.
So how can a small business use Pinterest? What's your recommendation?
Well, the first thing I think you want to remember is when people go onto these social networks, it's not about selling. No. It's about collaborating and sharing. So you need to refocus.
A relationship.
Absolutely.
Social.
You want to make it fun and engaging. So a lot of people have been using contests, getting the people to follow them because it comes from an invite, and allowing them to build a board together. Also, again, one of the things that you can do is not only show about your products, but show about you personally, maybe having a board for quotes or things that they get to know about you. And again, rewarding them for pinning up your product.
What about pitfalls? Anything that a business should be watching out for as they go down this road?
Well, the one thing that they have gotten in trouble about is copyrighted material. So I think you need to be aware of intellectual property, and just to know that, you need to respect other people's property, especially when it comes to copywriting. All
right, Pinterest, Dr. Konya Weber, and then you, thank you so much for being with us today. And we are talking about marketing right now on Twitter. Ask your question. Just be sure and hashtag it BBBTrust. Coming up next, what goes into marketing top brands like Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Jaguar, Range Rover right here in Idaho? A look at the process and what you can learn from the pros when we return. You are watching Business at its Best, presented by Ataraxis. You are watching Business at its Best on Idaho's very own 24/7 and Local News 8's Now channel. Our focus today, marketing. The Lyle Pearson Company has a sales territory that reaches from eastern Oregon across Idaho to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. The company is known for its iconic brands, its Acura, Range Rover, Porsche, Jaguar, Volvo, and Mercedes-Benz. Jim Cross with Lyle Pearson joins us. Jim, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Dave.
Tell us about your philosophy when it comes to marketing, especially from Lyle Pearson's perspective.
Oh, we always try to advertise stuff that we can provide. Lots of advertising is done, to just get somebody in the store, a bait and switch situation. And fortunately, here in Idaho, most of the car dealers are pretty ethical, and we try to provide what we have, and we do what we say we're going to do. So, that's our philosophy.
Meeting expectations.
Meeting expectations, exactly.
What are some of the rules that you live by to be sure that your marketing is ethical, honest, and straightforward?
Well, it's just like you said, it's those three words. It has to be honest. Is it something the customer would want? It comes back to expectations again, and if we can meet their needs, it's about establishing relationship. Fortunately, we have numerous repeat customers. It's all about relationship here in a small town, and if you have a good reputation, do what you say you're going to do, people come back and do business with you. So I think that's what it's all about.
You've used that word relationship a couple of times.
Right.
Exactly. It's an important one. So if you take Lyle Pearson out of the mix and look at your industry from a 30,000-foot view, for our viewers, what are some things that people should be watching for that are a tip-off that they're watching or they're consuming an ethical piece of marketing communication? And then on the flip side, what are some warning signs that the advertising they're seeing, especially from the auto industry, wouldn't be ethical?
Well, I don't know if it's so much the automobile business, but I think people have to be really careful when you're buying something that's either mechanical or technological, and get some input, some outside, do your research. It is kind of buyer beware out there, and you see people bringing cars in that they've bought on eBay or from a private party, and these people thought they were getting a deal, and we're showing them a repair bill for $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 because they did not bring it to a mechanic or didn't have it checked out or they didn't do their research. So, get someone that's knowledgeable to help you.
A favorite saying of mine is trust but verify.
Trust but verify. That's what I tell my 16-year-old. Well, that's what my 16-year-old son. We trust him, but we have to verify where he's at.
Do you have some examples, a story you can share about a successful marketing campaign that Lyle Pearson launched and what happened through that process?
Well, we try to do multitudes of things. Mostly we want to be involved where we can meet people and develop relationships, be involved in the opera or the golf tournaments or cycling events or running events. We want people to associate us with activities. They were talking about earlier about Facebook and this and that. Well, we want people to post pictures of us and them doing something fun together, and that's the type of marketing we try to do. We do your traditional advertising, newspaper and television and radio,
but it's all about the relationship.
It's all about relationships.
Jim Cross, Lyle Pearson, thanks so much for being with us today. Great information for all of our small businesses. And we're talking about marketing right now on Twitter. Do you know a company that is great at ethical, honest marketing? Be sure and share it with us. Just hashtag it right there on your screen, BBB Trust. Coming up later, we visit an Eastern Idaho company for an up-close look at the importance of good marketing. First, author and speaker Dave Lakhani joins us for a conversation about selling when no one is buying. You're watching Business at its Best, presented by Ataraxis. Welcome back to Business at its Best. Ataraxis makes this program possible each week. The company takes care of the day-to-day work of HR, benefits, and payroll, so a business owner can focus on growing business. Dave Lakhani is with Ataraxis. He's a speaker and author. He joins us today. Dave, thanks so much for joining us. We mentioned the books earlier, but it's How to Sell When No One's Buying and Persuasion, the Art of Getting What You Want. Let's focus on the book, how to sell when no one's buying, because I'm still talking to some businesses. There's some industries that are finding success, and there's still some industries struggling. So what's the premise of the book?
No, the premise of the book is, what do you need to do when the economy is changing, or when it's changed, or when your industry has changed, and it appears that people are not buying anymore? And the whole premise of the book is the things that you can do systematically, step by step, to make sure that you reinvigorate all of the possible avenues in a positively ethical way that allows people to find you and allows them to do business with you when they have a multitude of choices and when they may have lost focus on you as there was a change in an industry and an economy. Breaking
through the clutter.
Absolutely.
You mentioned those words that are so important, especially for our focus today, ethical. Advertising. So let's spend some time on those industries that are still struggling and having a tough time. What are some of those things that systems they can put in place, things they can do to be sure that they're staying true to the moral compass of ethically advertising?
One of the most important things they can do is tell a powerful story, and tell a story that is relevant, that's transparent, that lets people know who they are, what they do, and why, but that compels them emotionally, something that hooks them in and gets them connected back to the company. So oftentimes in a downturn economy or an industry that's changing, it's connecting back to something like your roots, or it's connecting back to a very important piece of a business that you do, as opposed to trying to be everything to everyone or going out and saying that you do things you really don't and then trying to deliver on the back end. One of the things we often see companies do when an economy or industry changes is they make promises that they really can't fulfill, oftentimes with good intentions, thinking, we will be able to do this if we can just get this business in, then we'll be able to deliver on this, and then they find that they're not able to as quickly as they hoped, and it causes customer dissatisfaction, a sense that they were misled. And so we encourage those companies not to do those things, to go back to the things that really matter, telling a powerful story, building powerful connections, working your network.
Human nature is so interesting. We grow up as kids listening to stories, and we're fascinated by stories, and somewhere in that mix, by the time we get to adulthood, especially when you think about marketing, we move away from the story and we start. A lot of advertising is we hear our price is the lowest. It's shouting from the rooftop about low prices, or here's the product we carry. And we move away from this storytelling, but that is really so important for folks.
It's even more important now as we talk about how advertising is shifting online, and as people's networks are changing. People are looking for those powerful, compelling stories, and they're being overwhelmed with a lot of information. So as we move from storytelling, as we grow older as adults, we move into bullet points. So I want to tell you 10 things. Dale, I've just got 6 things I've got to tell you right now. If we can spend the next 30 seconds, and I tell you how great, and you're done. But if I learn a little about you and I have a compelling emotional hook, something that you can believe in, something that you're interested in, you'll listen to a story. And the important thing
something
about
I can relate to.
Something you can relate to, absolutely. And you've been conditioned to learn from stories since you were a small child. It's how you learned in school, how you learned in your church or your synagogue or wherever you went for any kind of religious practice. It's how that you were taught in college. And so as you begin to fall into this pattern of somebody telling a story, you listen and you understand how to listen to the story, accept it. But what's most important about it is well-told stories are easy to retell. And that's what we often say, the best kind of advertising is word of mouth. But really, it's the best kind of story someone can retell.
Give me a story I can tell. Dave Lakhani, the book is How to Sell When Nobody's Buying. Thank you so much for being with us today. Excellent information. Better Business Bureau has a number of resources to help your company be the best it can be. Check out our website at bbb.org. Also, you can go to Facebook, search for BBB Snake River Region, and click that like button. Well, if you have an example of a marketing tool, tell us right now on Twitter, #BBBTrust. And coming up next, we go inside your company. So often people think of marketing as an outward-focused opportunity. The messages inside your business are just as important. You are watching Business at its Best, presented by Ataraxis. Welcome back to Business at its Best. Do you think of marketing as advertising or selling to external customers only? It's much more complex. In fact, a successful strategy includes marketing to your internal customers. Dr. Marilyn Melchiorre, or Dr. Mel as we like to call her, joins us from College of Idaho. Thanks so much for being with us. So when you talk about this idea of internal marketing, what do you mean?
Well, internal marketing is really a management philosophy. It means you recognize that you have internal customers, your employees, as well as your external customers who are buying your products. And just like you have a messaging strategy for your external customers, you should have a message focus for your employees, an internal. And normally that focus is about creating, a satisfying customer experience or building, a flaw-free product. But it's that message internally to your employees.
And then the employer is sitting out there saying, you know, I told them when they were hired, so that's all the messaging I need to do.
Yeah, no,
It doesn't work that way.
No.
The message has to be really taken from a marketing perspective, a marketing mindset.
It is, and it is about the communication, you know, over and over, repeating it, that you want your employees to have a customer focus.
So what then are some of the ways that you can apply the internal marketing principles you're talking about?
Well, in that message with the, customer focus, you're trying to gain your employee commitment. You want them to believe in what they do because they're your advocates to the outside world. And so that might involve some employee motivation, showing some appreciation, and we're all familiar with those best places to work. Mm-hmm. You know, you can learn a lot from those organizations. They have good internal marketing messaging because their employees really believe in that organization.
But it's the constant communication that you're talking about.
Right, whether there's signs around or internal memos, you need to be consistent with that message of, we want to be the best, the customer, serving the customer, building the better product, but always being consistent in everything.
We're giving away some of your secrets ahead of time, though, but let's talk about those internal marketing benefits. What's the payoff for the business when they go through this process?
Yeah, and that messaging will help build a positive culture. And that's what you want to do. And with a positive culture, you see evidence of improved efficiency and effectiveness, and ultimately that leads then to increased customer service. So, it all builds together. And, the important thing is for a manager or business owner to understand and recognize there are internal customers. You have to be successful with them first before you can ever be successful with your external market.
So we create a positive culture, and then it's the effective and efficient aspect.
Right, because employees buy in, they believe in what they do, it helps improve the efficiency, yes.
And then the final item on that list for folks is that it is going to all lend to customer service.
All the work that happens internally and the messaging, the plan, just like you have an external plan of messaging, you should have an internal plan of messaging. It all culminates in trying to improve your sales and in bolster your business.
Bring
That's
those
what
customers
it does.
Back for more. Dr.
Bring them
Mill,
back.
thank you so much for being with us today.
Good,
Excellent information for us. And we are talking about marketing right now on Twitter. Ask your question at BBB, hashtag BBB Trust. And next on Business at its Best, with stores in eastern and southern Idaho, Brady's has a long history earning trust with customers. We have a conversation with the man who started the company and his son who's running it now when we return. You are watching Business at its Best, presented by Ataraxis. Welcome back to Business at its Best. Back in the mid-1980s, Cliff Brady took a look around the business climate of eastern Idaho and said, we need a better business bureau. Cliff was already well known for his business, Brady's. His sons, Brad and Steve, carry on with the business, and the company is still very much involved with BBB. We had a conversation with Cliff and Brad about that beginning and the Brady philosophy on marketing.
Brady's is eastern Idaho's and I guess central Idaho's most complete home specialty department store. The area here in eastern Idaho, people are so trusting, and they were being scammed. Unethical advertising, unethical deals, bait and switch, all kinds of things.
After 47 years in business, we fully understand that you need to be straight up and honest, because if you're misleading in your advertising, eventually it catches up to you. It may not catch up to you right away, but eventually it catches up to you. So we make sure, we double, triple check everything we do to make sure that it's correct, that it is fair, that we can fulfill everything that we say we can do in the ad, and that our pricing is honest and straight up.
Give them a fair deal, do what you said you were going to do, and if you can do better, do better. But the main thing is you keep your word, and when you advertise, that's your word. So whatever you say in that ad, you have to fulfill it.
It actually surprises me that, especially in this day and age with the internet and the information that's available, how many people still believe that you can get something for nothing, or that you can get this fantastic deal that the local guy that's been there forever can't give you? I'll use the example of one of the things that's going on pretty heavy right now is in the hot tub industry. There's a big group of people doing what we call the traveling roadshow. And they come in and they actually advertise this event more like it's a fair or a trade show, and there's going to be a bunch of dealers there and stuff. They actually promote it that way, and it's one company, and their advertising just screams at you that, you know, you're going to save 50, 70, 80% on hot tubs and swim spas and everything, and yet their pricing is actually 25, 30% higher than what you can buy a very comparable product from a local reputable dealer that will actually be there to take care of the warranty and service.
Stop doing it now and stop hurting the customer. Stop hurting the business community. Stop hurting your own self, because you're certainly not doing yourself a favor. Honesty is always the best policy. So being fair and equitable to everybody is so important, and doing what you said you would do.
Here's a quick recap of today's show, the ideas we hope you can put into action to make the most of your marketing. You know, we spent some time talking about Pinterest. Real lesson here is that it's all about the conversation for you and your customers, providing them the most effective ways to communicate. Next, whatever your marketing message, you must be honest and authentic. And speaking of being genuine, don't forget what's going on the inside. Building the culture of your business starts with a solid marketing effort inside your organization. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful week.